Hey guys and girls, Raj here, back with another video. In this video, I am going to show you how you can create any resource using Python CDK. As part of the demo, I'm going to create a Lambda, Kinesis, API, Dynamodb table, and S3. At the end of this video, you should be able to create any AWS resources using Python CDK. All right, let's get into it. So if you guys reference the guide for CDK, most of the examples are given in TypeScript, okay? So TypeScript is cool, but for those of you who want to do stuff in Python, like me, it's little difficult at this point, because let's say you try to create a Lambda using CDK, so this is the TypeScript example, right? Now if you want to see the Python example, let me click and open a new tab. So you go to the function. So you click this. So it shows the method and the parameters, but there is no example given, right? So it could be a little confusing if you are trying to spin stuff up using Python. So before you watch this video, you should ideally watch my other video, CDK versus CloudFormation, where I cover some of the basic stuff. So I have a code 9 that I'm going to use for IDE. So I'm going to follow this guide for the initial steps, and then I'm going to show you how you create stuff. Okay, so first we have to install AWS CDK. So back to Cloud9. I'm just going to paste it. So CDK is installed. How could you tell? You could do CDK -- version. There you go. It shows the version. Okay, so next we are going to create the folder and all that good stuff. Okay, here we go. I'm just gonna copy this command, go here, paste this, go back, creating this sample app, click this, CDK init. So it's gonna create a bunch of reference for us, bunch of framework for us that we can use. So what this CDK does is create some SQS and stuff. So we're gonna remove all this, okay? And then we're gonna create our own stuff. Okay, so let's start by, how about a Dynamodb table? So what you're gonna do is delete all this stuff, okay? Okay, let's delete all this. We're gonna delete all this. So let us see what we need to do for Dynamodb, okay? So this is our reference. So let's find out AWS-Dynamodb, okay? How about this, Dynamodb? Okay, click overview. So you can see, first you need the package aws_cdk.aws-dynamodb, okay? So let's copy this. Okay, go back to code 9. So you know from AWS CDK, you have to import AWS Dynamodb, and we can give it a name so we can reference it, and then give comma, okay? Now here, okay, we are under, this is where all the magic happens. So let's go back to our reference. So this is how you create Dynamodb in TypeScript. So remember this is, so in the TypeScript, we are using the method table, and these are the parameters, right? So this is kind of important because this will help us to pick for the Python. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna right click and open link in a new window. Okay, now remember this method is table, okay? So this is the Python Dynamodb CDK option. So this is the table. So we're gonna go to the table so that it's similar to TypeScript. Okay, and these are the parameters of the table. So if I go back to my Cloud9, so what do? I do, let's say my underscore table equals to underscore Dynamodb dot name of the method, right? Table. Okay. Now, now that we know what method we are going to use, let's see what should be the parameters. So here's the trick. So for TypeScript, this is a constructor. That's why it's this. So if I go back to the Python, this scope is the referring to that constructor. See, it's construct. So remember this here. The first one always becomes self. Okay. And then we go back to the Python ID. This is a logical ID within the stack. So you can give ID equals to Dynamo table. Okay. Then comma. Let's go back here. Okay. Next is table name. So let's copy this. Go back. Let's put the table name. Okay. You can give it a single quote or double quote. You know what? Let's stick to maybe single quote. Okay. What name should I give? Test CDK table. How about that? Okay. Comma. Let's go back here. Now let's look at the TypeScript. Okay. So up to here we are good. So what's this defining? Partition key, name and type, and it's using this dynamodb.attribute-type.string. So we're gonna use the similar thing. So we just have to find out what this is in Python. Okay. So if I go back here, so partition key. Where is the partition key? Here we go. Partition key, and then attribute. Okay. So I copy this, and then I click this attribute. So if I go back, partition key equals to, so what's the method? So we saw, so again, going over this, so partition key is assigning a name of the column and then the type of the column, right? And to assign the type of the column, it's using attribute type. So if I go back, partition key has to refer attribute, and within attribute, we have to use attribute type. Okay? Because the attribute has two parameters. One is the name of the column and the type. So how do we do this? So we go back, underscore dynamodb dot attribute. So that this has two parameters. Remember, name equals to, I don't know, we could give anything. Let's stick to single quote. Maybe last name? I don't know, I'm just giving a random thing. And then the next one is attribute type, right? If I go back, so it has two parameters, name and attribute type. Sorry, it has two parameters, name and attribute type. So if I click attribute type, this is a property of CDK dynamodb.attribute type and then string. Okay, so if I go back, so remember we assigned AWS CDK.AWS dynamodb to the variable underscore dynamodb. So how do we put attribute type? Underscore dynamodb dot attribute type dot string. Okay, let's check this. Something is wrong. Positional argument. Okay, so I know what's wrong, but let me just show you guys, right? An attribute has name and type, right? So what did we do wrong? So we put name equals to this, so we just have to put type equals to. Okay, then that should be good. Okay, we're good. Okay, so let's run this, right? And then once we run this, we're gonna try maybe a Kinesis stream. How about that? Okay, so to run this, you have to activate the virtual environment. Go back, Control V. Okay, and then we're going to install the libraries defined in requirements.txt. Okay. Okay, we don't need this line. We can delete this. Okay, let's try this. Bootstrap again. Okay, attribute error string. Attribute error string. Okay. I know what's wrong. Okay, so let's see. Attribute. Okay, I'll show you. Attribute type. So if I click this attribute type, see the attributes is caps string. Okay, so I have to make this bigger string. Okay, now let's try this. CDK bootstrap. Okay, so environment is bootstrap. So now let's try to deploy. Okay, seems like it's doing something. Okay, so seems like this is done. So let's see if it actually created the Dynamodb table. Here we go. Test CDK table with partition key as last name string. Okay, cool. So if you don't specify read and write, it defaults to 5. You can change all that. All right, so we successfully created a Dynamodb table. Now next, try to create a Kinesis stream. How about that? Okay. So the same way, we go back here, and then we go to Kinesis. Okay. Let's click trace, click overview. Okay, so same way. Remember the name of the method it's using for the TypeScript is string. Okay. So first things first, we have to import this AWS underscore Kinesis. Okay. Same way, we're gonna do AWS underscore Kinesis as Kinesis. Okay. Now what do I do? Here, my underscore stream equals to underscore Kinesis dot going back to the TypeScript example, method is stream. So now let's open the Python one. Right click, open link in new window. Okay, we click stream. Okay, and in the stream we have the scope. Scope always becomes self and then ID. So let's do that. Stream self comma ID equal to Kinesis stream. Okay, comma, go back. Okay, so you already got the idea, right? In TypeScript, they're just passing the name of the screen, name of the stream. So that's all you have to do here as well. So what do you do? Stream name. That's the only thing you need to do. Because one problem I find is not every method has the optional and required given, right? So in this case, short count is optional, but it doesn't say optional. Okay, so if I go here, stream name equals to CDK Kinesis stream. Okay, let's save this. So same way, actually, we have to install the AWS Kinesis. Okay. As another cool thing, you can do a CDK diff. Okay, let me just fix this. This is like real-time programming, right? Okay, here we go. So it shows, hey, for this stack, you are just adding a stream. So which is kind of cool. So let's deploy this. Okay, so done. So let's go check out Kinesis. Okay, there we go. CDK Kinesis stream active. What else should we create? Let's create a S3 and then finally we'll finish it up with Lambda. Okay, so let's find S3. S3, here we go. Or click overview. Okay, so same trick, right? You can see all you need is method bucket and then the name of the bucket. So this is the Python, right click, open link in new window. We have to import AWS S3. By now you're probably getting hang of this. S3 as underscore S3, comma, okay. My bucket equals to underscore S3. Okay, what should be the name of the method? You should know by now. Bucket, right? So we created the Python, we opened the Python reference. So we look for the method bucket. Here we go, click bucket. And then all I need is name of the bucket, that's it. Okay, so scope, ID, and what is the name of the bucket? Bucket name. Go back. So this will be bucket. So first one is always self. ID equal to S3 bucket, comma, name of bucket equals to Rod CDK bucket. Okay, let's save this. Okay, let's try diff. I don't think I have to import this one. This one should already be in. CDK deploy. Okay, so it's done. I'm not gonna check it. It's created. So let's find out Lambda. Here we go. Same way. Create overview. First things first. We need to import AWS underscore Lambda. So we go here. Click AWS underscore Lambda as underscore Lambda. Okay. My Lambda. So Lambda is a little bit involved. Underscore Lambda dot. Okay, so if we go back to the TypeScript example, so this uses the method function. Okay, and then it has a bunch of stuff. Okay, so let's open, right click, link in new tab. So we find function, okay? So scope ID, so let's do all that. So we do function. So scope always becomes self, ID becomes the logical name in the stack. So basically Lambda function, comma. Okay, now let's go back to the TypeScript example. So what do we have? Runtime, handler, and code. Okay, so runtime. So if I go to the runtime, so basically CDK AWS Lambda dot runtime and then attribute. So anytime there's an attribute, so you can just directly call it, right? So let's look at the DynamoDB, right? So remember the attribute type. So if we go back to DynamoDB, what we did, type equal to underscore DynamoDB dot attribute type dot string, right? So basically you can just directly call the attribute type. Okay, so in this case, runtime attributes, where is this Python? Python 3.7. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. So if I go back, underscore Lambda dot runtime dot Python 3.7, right? Okay. Python 3.7. Okay. Okay, handler. Next is handler. It's a string, so you define it. How about hello.handler? Oops. And then comes the most important thing, which is code. Okay, so if we go back, so code, the source code of your Lambda function, you can point to a file in S3 or specify your source code as inline text. So let's click this. So code class is cdk.aws-lambda.code. So basically anything which starts with aws_cdk.aws-lambda, so basically we redefined it as underscore lambda, right? because just lambda is a keyword. So what do we do? Lambda.code. Okay, now let's go back. Code. So basically, see, it's saying from asset, and then it's just giving a directory name. So we have to find the equivalent thing in here. Okay, and this is under attributes. So asset and path. So anything under attribute, we just call it with a dot. So we do dot asset, and then we have to give a path. Okay, how about we put lambda code? So this is related to this folder. So here we actually have to create a folder here. New folder, lambda code. Okay, in here we have to create our Python code. Okay, how about a new file? hello.py. Okay. If I double click, I don't know, I'm just gonna put a dummy code. Let's save this. Okay, go back to hello stack, save this. So let's look at the TypeScript one. That's all we need. So should work, right? Should work. But let's try it out. Okay, let's do a diff. Okay, it's giving an error. It's related to CDK. So this I have to put it under CDK workshop. Okay. Okay, now this should work. Okay, let's deploy this. So it should deploy the Lambda function, and it's gonna create an IAM role. So while this gets created, remember one thing. So this app.py determines which region your stack gets deployed. So I kept it as US East 2. So that's gonna be Ohio, right? So don't get confused. Don't go and check for North Virginia and it's like, okay, where is my resources? So this is created. Let's go back to the console. Functions, here we go. So a Lambda function is created. Okay, so let's do one more thing. What's another commonly used thing in serverless architecture? API Gateway, where the API is calling the Lambda, right? So we back to the documentation, AWS API Gateway, and then scroll down to AWS Lambda backed APIs. So basically the method of interest is Lambda REST API, and then handler should be pointing to the Lambda function. Okay, so if I open the Lambda REST API, right? So we have the scope and ID, and then this is the handler which should point to the Lambda function we created. So if I go back, so I just coded it because I figured at this point you guys know how to derive this. So self, ID, and then REST API name that's getting created using this API Gateway Lambda REST API, and then handler equal to my Lambda, right? So this is my Lambda. So let's do a diff. Okay, here we go. And then let's deploy. By the way, I had to pip install AWS CDK, AWS API Gateway as well. Okay, so let's deploy. Okay, it's done. So let's go check it out. So since we left everything blank, it automatically creates this any, and then it linked the Lambda function. But if you want to put particular methods, you could do this too. So hopefully this video explains how you can create CDKs in Python looking at the TypeScript examples. Let me know what you think of this video. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.